Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, it's December 2021, year's coming to an end, and it seems like everybody's throwing out a video about their top 5 pieces of gear, so I thought I'd share mine with you guys today. It's been a pretty good year as far as gear. I've got a lot of new exciting gear this year, got to try out some stuff, and I'll get into it here. I also have, in addition to the top 5 pieces of gear, I have one that I'm going to add, and it is kind of a disappointment. So we'll get into the gear here, but like I said, top 5 pieces of gear I was really impressed with this year. One piece of gear that I really had high hopes for, but it's a good piece of gear, a little disappointed overall. So we'll get into the gear. Coming up, number 1. First piece of gear that I was really impressed with for 2021. Haven't had this long, but this is the Outdoor Research Echo Hoodie, and I love this thing, man. I've been looking for a lightweight, kind of like a base layer to mid layer, and I do have one made sort of similar to this by Arc'teryx, and it's good too, but I actually prefer this one over the Arc'teryx. It's actually about $30 cheaper. I'm not going to go into the specs of all this stuff in this video. It'd take forever to get through it, but it's been comfortable. It's breathable. It wicks the sweat away. It's comfortable in even warmer temperatures. It does have a UV protection to it. But yeah, the Outdoor Research Echo Hoodie. Check that out if you're looking for a good little base layer or mid layer. Okay, for the second piece of gear for 2021 that I was really impressed with. So I run a continuous ridge line on my tarp, and in the past I've always just connected my tarp to my ridge line with zing it with just little pressing knots. I like that setup, so I can, you know, just adjust my tarp back and forth. Once I get my hammock set up, I'll put my ridge line up, hook my tarp to the ridge line, and then I can, you know, adjust it back and forth to get it the perfect coverage over each end. Well, this is a Nameklaw, and it does the same thing as a pressing knot, but I don't know, it's just so much simpler than a pressing knot. It seemed like the pressing knots over time would just get tighter and tighter, and then you'd have to try to mess with them and loosen them up and everything to get them to slide again. And you can find these on Nameklaw.com. I showed them in my recent tarp video, but they work just the same. I'll probably never be able to show you guys how they work, but this little hook right here, I just hook my tarp, I have a little piece of zing on each end, right into that little loop there, and when they're pulled this way with the tension, like I said, I'll never show it, it kind of locks in place, and you just pull it the other way, and it works just like a pressing knot. It's great. Just like I said, a lot easier. You don't have the binding up of the pressing knots over time. So Nameklaw.com, the Nameklaw, if you guys run continuous ridge lines. I've also seen guys just run like this, zing it, they'll run it around the tree with a loop and just clip this on. They just use 2 pieces, they don't use the continuous. It works the same way. I've seen these used on guy lines to tie out the corners of your tarps. Lots of different uses for them, so check them out, Nameklaw.com. Okay, coming up, number 3 on the list, you guessed it, my Hammock Gear Dyneema tarp. I love this thing. This was, I just did a video, probably my favorite piece. I probably should have put this as number 1, but this was definitely my favorite piece. That's what's in the top 5. This tarp is the bomb. I've been out in many rainstorms and it's kept me dry. I got the 12-foot because 11-foot hammock, I wanted that little bit of extra coverage, and these things are so light that 1 extra foot does not make a difference. I've set it up in snake skins. Just to make it a little easier to deploy. Also, you can put it up over your hammock, and if it's chance of rain, you can just leave it up. You know, if it's definitely going to rain, you can take it out of the snake skins. But I don't know, there's tons of different ways to set it up. But my Hammock Gear Dyneema tarp, love this thing. So if you're in the market for a good hammock tarp this coming year, definitely check it out. All right, so 4th piece of gear this year, my Dream Hammock Sparrow. Recently in the past, I've been using a Sheltoe half shell, I believe it is, and that's been an excellent tarp. There was really no reason to replace it, with the exception of I was just wanting something new, and heard a lot about the Dream Hammock line and went with the Sparrow. It's 11 foot, it's 1.6 Hyper D. I have no idea what it weighs. Like I said, it came with a bug nut, and I got the winter cover. Actually, the winter cover, I'll tell you, some people like them, some don't. I love it in the colder temperatures. It seems like it blocks the wind, and I've noticed, like in the mornings when it's cold out and I open that the zipper up, I can definitely tell a difference in temperature. So I think it'll help me be a little more comfortable with that winter cover on, just, you know, getting down to lower temps. But the Dream Hammock Sparrow, if you're looking for a new hammock coming up in 2022, definitely give Dream Hammock a look into. You can customize everything, all the way down to the stitching, the zipper pulls, how wide you want it, the length. I think they do have now the Sparrow, I know they do, they have the Sparrow 12 foot. I'm not sure if you can get a 12 footer or anything else, but Chris, that hiking guy, has a 12 footer, and man, it's huge. But like I said, Dream Hammock Sparrow, number 4 for this year of 2021. Okay, for the last piece of gear on the list for 2021 of my top 5, Ultra Lone Peak 5s. So I have not huge feet, but I have wide feet, and I started using the Ultras a few years ago. I started with the 3s, and I had the uppers, and I loved them. I didn't know if I would like an actual trail runner, but I had the 3s. They lasted me for 2 years, all the way through the 4s and the 4.5s. I just kept rocking the 3s, and they kept lasting. Finally, I started to wear them out this year. Actually, the tread on those 3s are really good still, but the padding and everything inside started to wear out. So with the Lone Peak 5s, they've got a different type of sole in them, like what they call the Vibram sole, and still the wide foot box. The other thing they upgraded was Ultras are known for this little rubber piece right here, this little rock guard, or what do you want to call it, in the front, that rubber piece coming off over time. Actually, this one, I've only had these shoes for about 6 months, and this one you can feel it's a little loose, but they went in and put some extra stitching up there in the front. So far so good. Like I said, I've had these 6 months. I couldn't begin to tell you how many miles, not a ton, but they've lasted. These things are super comfortable if you're into the zero drop. That's one thing, if you don't know about the Ultras, they do have a zero drop, and I would highly recommend, if you do get a pair of zero drop shoes, wear them around a lot, especially before you're going on any kind of big hiking trips. If you're just walking in the afternoons, or if you're going on day hikes, it's got something to do. I've noticed if I haven't worn them for a while, I don't know all the basics or what, you know, what causes it, but my calves will hurt a little bit. And so I just try to wear these as much as I can, just to keep my legs and calves used to these shoes, or used to the zero drop. They do have the gator attachment on the front and back and everything with but I don't know, Ultras, man, they've been around for a while. Some people love them, some people hate them. I actually love mine, so I haven't had any problems with the 2 pair I've had. So that's the last piece on the gear for the top 5, Ultra Lone Peak 5. Okay, for the last piece of gear, this is the kind of I hate to say disappointment, but it's a good piece of gear, but it's just not everything I thought it would be. So I was in the market for a different type of stove. I've used alcohol stoves, I've used all kinds of stoves over the years. I had recently been using the BRS, and that thing's a champ, super lightweight. But so Jetboil came out with the stash, and I really thought it was cool how everything's stashed in together, stowed together. It was well made. It does its job, and it does boil water very quickly. It is put together well, as far as the cap will hold your fuel. But a few things, I don't know, it's kind of a pain. And if you guys notice, to get the base, your fuel base down inside there, try to get your stove set a certain way, and then clip this on and get the lid to stick or stay on there. But I've noticed, I've tried to pour this quite a few times, and you really have to make sure that lid is on there. You think it's on there, it'll come off. My friend Chris burned his hand trying to pour into a backpacking meal one day. I don't know. It's a good piece of gear. It's just not as good as I thought it would be. It's just, I don't know. Not everything I thought it'd be. It's not as light as I thought. I don't know. I really think for the money, I think that's the disappointment. For the money you spend on this, you could do, save a lot of money. You could buy the BRS for 20 bucks, and I have a MSR Titan that's 850 mils that I paid like 50 bucks for, 60 bucks, and have half the money, because this thing is, I think, 129 or 139. And I know the Jetboil stuff's expensive, but for what it is, I don't know, that comes in as my disappointment for the year. It just really didn't have like, oh wow, this is the bee's knees, so I don't know. I hate to bash on them, but I don't know, just wasn't super impressed with it. So that's my top 5 pieces of gear for 2021. I do have some new pieces of gear I've just recently purchased and have on the way to start off with 2022. So I'll be reviewing those as we go along into the next year, letting you guys know what I think about those. If you guys have any questions about any of the gear that I've shown in this video, please leave the questions in the comment section below. I will answer them. I'll tell you my honest opinion about gear. I'm not sponsored by anybody or any of these gear companies. All of this gear I've paid my own money for. So like I said, any questions, put them in the comments. If you guys like this video, give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the trail.